How's it going, guys? How's it going? Chris Game here again for We Love Betting, looking ahead to this weekend's Polish football. 1 out of 3 last week. They were all quite big prices, to be fair. 8-5 Slons was the one that came in, so hopefully you got involved with that. A few more picks this weekend in Poland. I think there's a game on it for the next week in Poland. There's a midweek fixture list as well as this weekend. I might do another midweek fixture list one on Sunday, depending on how this one goes, eh? And I'll start off with the most logical bet, the most solid bet of the Ekstraklasa coupon this weekend, and that is Piast Gliwice at home to Widzew Łódź at 11-10 with Sporting Bet. It's a very, very fair price, very, very fair price. Piast 9th in the table against Widzew 10th in the table. But quite simply, Widzew's away form is awful, which I'll come to now. Firstly though, Piast unbeaten at home this season. One thing to consider. Widzew, they're no win in 4 generally, and their away form is like I say, absolutely atrocious. They won just twice away in the whole of last season. They would have been relegated if it was just away form only. They were the second worst side. We'll come to the worst side later. The second worst side away from home last season. Just 2 wins. They've not won the win. They haven't won this season yet either. In fact, the last time they won away from home was against Piast, which was in Gliwice. Unbelievable. October the 20th, 2012. Almost a year ago. The last time they actually won away, and that was against Piast. 14 games without an away win. Piast 11-10 odds against. That's a great bet. Piast, of course, finished way ahead of them in the table last season. And although I think they're going for a tougher campaign this year, I still think 11-10 is a very generous price for a side with such a terrible away record. I like that. Lech Poznan are at home to Pogoń, and it's quite interesting how the bookmakers are cottoned on how rotten Lech have been this season so far. This Lech would have been, I reckon, 8-13, 4-7 to win this fixture. Maybe even 1-2 to win this fixture just 3 weeks ago. They're now 17-20. Unbelievable. And that's because they've been playing awful this season. I still couldn't get involved at that price because Pogoń have been, like they were last season, just a really tough side to beat. And I just think it's very interesting that the bookmakers have caught on, and perhaps the value for Lech is returning, but no this week for me. The third game, another very similar principles to the first bet. Zagłębie 21-20 to beat Korona Kielce. I think that's on Sunday. The bottom 2 of the table, 15th against 16th, but just as a suspicion that Zagłębie, who I expected to finish in the top 6 this year, they're starting to improve. They beat Rook 2-0 2 weeks ago, and last week they went down 2-1 to high flyers Górnik Zabrze, but just a suspicion that things are turning in Zagłębie's favour. When Korona play away, you've got to oppose them. I've said this so many times in this videos. Korona are one of the worst sides away from home in the whole of Europe, never mind Poland, and they must be opposed whenever, especially odds against. Gee whiz, man. They can't win away from home. It's as simple as that. This season, their away form played 3, lost 3. Last season, they were the worst side in Poland away from home by miles, 6 adrift at the bottom of the away table. They went the whole last season without winning away from home. Absolutely extraordinary. The last time they won away from home was on April 28th, 2012. Unbelievable, 18 months ago. A 2-0 win against the now relegated GK Bełchatów. So that's 19 games without an away win. And again, you're getting the opposing side at odds against. You know what I mean? You see why that's a decent price. 21-20. It's like Zagłębie Lubin to beat Korona. I just will always oppose Korona when they're away from home. It's simple as that. It's in, it makes total sense. Look at their CV. They're appalling away from home. Last mention, I'm only betting 2 sides, and that is Piast and that is Zagłębie, with another one I mentioned. Rook Warsaw 5-2 at home to beat Slons. That's too big. That's just too big. Rook, pretty bottom half side. Played 4-1-1, drawn 2, lost 1 at home this season, but they beat Legia Warsaw at home this season, so we know they're quite decent at home. A team should never be 5-2 at home in Poland, unless it's against Legia, I would say. Slavsk, who did us a favour last week, beating Lech Poznan 8-5. Like I said last week, raise their games against the big clubs, but tend to struggle against the smaller sides. And I think a 5-2 at home for Rook is too big. If you're having a bet on that, keep your stakes small, because it's. I think the two for me definitely. The two strong home sides against the awful away sides. Piast 11-10 to beat Vidsev, and Zagvembe 21-20 to beat Corona. See you later.